This is Ghostwire Tokyo. We're here on PlayStation 5 Pro. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So it's been a while since I've been on the constantly rainy, soaked streets of Tokyo Ghostwire. And it's great to be here taking a look at it on the PlayStation 5 Pro because it is a game that does benefit a little bit by having some overhead that is present through the power of the Pro. So this game, honestly, had way too many graphical mode options, but it did allow minor bits of future-proofing, which I guess in the long term is a good thing. So we're on the quality mode to start. So this is something that is supposed to be 1800p dynamic, so we should be getting closer to that full 1800p. And now it's still 30 FPS, but we get ray traced reflections and ray traced shadows. So it is a pretty nice visual presentation for the game. One that you might be impressed with. The lower frame rate isn't necessarily ideal for me, but it is fun to kind of take a look at the different graphical options, because that's what we're doing here when we do these types of videos. And yes, there are many options here. So we've got quality, we've got performance mode, we have high frame rate quality mode, we have high frame rate performance mode, we have high frame rate quality mode with the VSync, we have high frame rate performance mode with the VSync. So let's move to high frame quality mode. That'll be our next option. And yes, we're going to kind of take a crack at this. So when we move to high frame rate quality mode, they drop the quality of the experience to 1080p, so 1920 by 1080. With the ray tracing, and you get something above 60 FPS. So YouTube does support, past 60 FPS at the current point in time. So, not the most beneficial thing for you to see, but it should be like 20 to 30 extra FPS. So it is a lot more fluid, but it would have been nice to literally have had the regular quality mode, but just uncapped, would have been a really, really cool option for this. So a little disappointing that they didn't do that. I don't want the camera mode. I'm trying to find the thing that does the little drop thing, and it's like, here's where the heart is. Okay, well, I didn't want to do that. So that's this mode. I mean, it doesn't visually look the best, but, it's definitely a way to go about it. Where is the heart? There we go. We've cleaned the tree, and now we can absorb the spirits of the tree. Riveting, right? Alright. Let's go to the next option here for graphics. So we're going to the high frame rate with the VSync quality mode enabled. So the goal here with this mode is it's the same as the other mode, but it caps it at 60 FPS. So yeah, I don't really get the point of this mode with the PS5 Pro unless you want something that is smoothly kind of 60 FPS capped. So there you go. That's this mode. It's not how I would go about it, especially with the PS5 Pro overhead, but again, to do these videos, kind of taking a look at all the different graphical settings. So, kind of a little pointless. Then we have, like, if these modes actually feature-proof this in exciting ways, it would be great, but they just, like, it's literally, some of them are just pointless. Cool. So now we're at the performance mode. So for performance mode, it's 1440p dynamic, and it does not have ray tracing. So this should be getting us a lot closer to the 60 FPS target that the game was kind of struggling with providing at launch. And I mean, there were updates to the game as well that did make it run a little smoother over time and everything like that. So, like, it definitely does look... Oh god, we're gonna have to finger bang blast these things, these schoolgirls. Yeah, so... Anyways, this mode is running a lot better. It's a lot smoother. You know, it looks nice. It gives you a good level of fluidity. It's really not like a bad way to play this game. This is mostly how I played the game regularly. And honestly, it did have some drops, so it is nicer to actually come in here and have something that is running a lot smoother. So this is a very viable way, and probably the recommended way, I would say, to go about this. But of course, you know, the choice is up to you and how you kind of want to go about it. It's nice to have the ray tracing mode, but the fact that the ray tracing mode is such a low resolution doesn't help us. The other issue is we're never going to get them to come back and touch this up because Xbox closed and then sold off, but didn't technically close because they sold off the studio and Xbox kept the IP. So, thanks Xbox for that. So yeah, there shouldn't be an enhancement here, but who knows? If it does happen, I'll come back and take a look at it. Alrighty, let's go to our next mode here. Oh, there's a dog. So the next option is to go to performance high frame rate mode. So performance high frame rate mode. Well, pet the dog. Oh no, I can't pet the dog. I gotta read its mind, right? Here you go, eat. So this one is again like 120 hertz mode, which I guess you would say the other one is too if it's reaching towards 120. This is 1080p without the ray tracing, and it is something that does seem to be running better. Like this one had really, really bad kind of like screen tearing back in the day. So it's not like perfectly giving us 120 FPS, but it does come across as running a lot smoother than it was. I thought we were allowed on this map, or is there some kind of weird thing going on at the moment? The Demon Parade. Oh, that's kind of cool looking. So this mode's a lot more viable. And, you know, like it is a drop, like going down from 1440p to this mode, but if you do like fluidity, I think this mode is a lot better of a way to play this game now. If you can stomach a couple, it's like a few hundred p, so it is a lot of resolution sharpness that's kind of lost. The Demon Parade. My father took me into the city to see the Demon Parade. Alright. And finally, we have the high frame rate performance mode VSync. So the high frame rate performance mode was basically at like PC levels here. So this is another one that is kind of the same as just high frame rate performance mode. And you should be getting above 60 FPS, up to like 90 FPS here, or up to, well, technically it could go up higher, but yeah, so this mode, you know, actually kind of runs fine. Wait, is this the performance VSync 60 FPS? One sec here. High frame rate mode, performance VSync. High frame rate, performance mode. VSync. Okay. Okay. We're good. We're good here. Yeah, no. All right, we're good. I thought I was losing my mind here. So the idea here is that this again is basically the exact same as the other mode, but it's just kind of VSync enabled. So I wouldn't really go. Well, this option is a little smoother. It's hard to say for this game. There's so many options here, and it's like I don't know. I was kind of expecting something to be a little bit more groundbreaking here, because I think the big issue is they didn't leave this stuff like uncapped, and it's such a shame because like this is a game that I think really could, with overhead and long-term, you know, kind of performance overhead and console platform overhead, look really good on future console stuff. And I kind of wish they would have uncapped things a lot more, because this would have been the perfect situation for like a regular full quality mode uncapped, or full performance mode uncapped, or more dynamic resolution scaling. And we're kind of stuck with what we got. It's still, like, to me, a really cool, expansive game. HDR. And, yeah, it's still a really cool experience. So we're going to go back to performance mode, high frame rate mode, and we're going to play with that a bit. Because this might be my recommended sort of thing to get a pretty, well, an okay looking game, but one that does kind of give you a better frame rate, right? Like, the whole point of the Pro is to push things a little further. I don't know. Okay, so like this mode's really cool if you want to feel a high frame rate experience, right? Like the idea of this one, it's neat, it's interesting. If you want to see what it's like to play with the Pro at a higher frame rate, this is your mode. If you want to see a game that looks good and has a good level of performance, I would say the regular performance mode is the way to go. Wow, that's some bad shooting. Because this is going to give you a higher resolution, and now it's going to give you a better level of performance. And I think that is kind of the best mixture here, is getting the two of those. So that is how I would kind of recommend things, because you get sort of a better resolution, you get a cleaner picture, you get a frame rate that doesn't really feel like it's all over the place like it used to be. And I believe you will find this to be an enjoyable experience. It is, to my, like in my opinion, it's worth it to try the quality mode just so you can see the ray tracing effects in action, because they make a big difference to how the, you know, world reflects and looks to you. But I do think you can kind of enjoy it better with the fluidity level that this game offers when you're playing in performance mode. And then it's also worth it if you have a 120Hz display to try the performance high frame rate mode or the quality mode high frame rate mode, just to kind of get an idea of how much more fluid a game can look, and this game could look to you. It would have been cool if they unlocked it, hopefully, I don't know, maybe for the PS6 or something like that. Xbox will kind of push and just kind of maybe do like some kind of definitive edition or something like that. I don't know, but a little bit of a shame, because I do think this is a really cool game. I actually quite love this one. It was really weird to me when other people weren't as into this game as I was, because I think it's like a really fun kind of like magic shooter. There are many shooter games out there, but the like magic genre for shooter games is very minimal, and this one is very cool. Like, I love the story. I love that it's a self-contained story. We're never probably getting a sequel, and that's okay, because the story is self-contained. It has a beginning, it has an end. I appreciate that so much, because so few games will do that ever, or so few pieces of media will do that. And it's got a charming world. It deals with the supernatural. It's got a cool like vibe and city style. The soaking rain everywhere adds a nice little bit of ambiance. The fighting is kind of cool. The fighting is like flashy. The combat's neat. How you open the areas is really cool. There's a number of little side activities and things you can collect and do, but it's not overwhelming and ridiculous and not daunting. Like there's a fair amount of extra things you can jump into. And I thought this game was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I like the story, I like the setting, I like the setup, I like how you collect certain items that you get naturally while playing in order to improve your character and become more powerful with your abilities and your spells. I like how the ammo is set up. I just found this to be a really genuinely enjoyable, a little unsettling, cool kind of game about a guy that's just trying to really take care of someone that's close to him and his family. And the, you know, kind of the way he goes about doing that, and then the craziness of the overall supernatural thing here. Is this like, I think this is like a very old version of FSR2, which makes it look a lot fuzzier. But that also kind of adds almost to the vibe of this one, because it's got such a distinct sort of aesthetic here. See, now this is one where the PS5 Pro, I think, actually could give us a really, really good bump up. And it's almost a bit of a shame that we're getting, you know, we're getting overhead, but we're not getting the full potential of what this one could have been. Still, genuinely worth your time if you kind of never played this before, or you were waiting for an excuse to play it, or you were kind of like, oh, the performance and stuff like that. It's a lot better on the PS5 Pro. Also, like any of the updates they did over time after launch as well help a lot. And yeah, I just think it's a relatively really neat experience. I think it's well worth diving into. I think there's a lot to see here, a lot to do. There's cool gliding stuff too. You can actually like glide across buildings, and then there's, you know, the different animals living their lives too on the streets. It's kind of fun. Like, it's got like a really cool vibe, like just a really kind of somber, collected, ambient, quiet kind of vibe to it. It really is genuinely quite neat. And there's just really is like a lot to do and see in this one. And I think you can have a lot of fun playing this game. I also really like that there's a bit of a detective vibe, that your guide is this interesting sort of individual thrown into the mix here. And yeah, they do a lot of really cool stuff with this. Like, this was a very neat game for the PlayStation 5. And it's a little bit of a shame people weren't a little bit more behind and into this one. It really is neat. Like, yeah, if you have the chance, I would highly recommend playing this one, because I really like this one. And I think if you give it a chance, you'd really like it too. Because, you know, this like launched as a PlayStation kind of exclusive and everything like that, and didn't come to Xbox till way later, which was hilarious, because, you know, Xbox obviously bought Blizzard, right? Activision later, but you know, they bought Blizzard, and this wasn't even like, it was a timed exclusive for PlayStation, and it was a whole thing. But yeah, I think the somber vibes of this street just look a lot better, and hopefully the gameplay, aside from going over 4 billion different modes, has also kind of maybe inspired you to take a look at it, because that's the big thing in doing these videos is, you know, show off the PS5 Pro, show off the games, but also revisit really fun games and hopefully introduce people to try them that didn't prior, because I think you're missing out on a really, really cool experience. See, I really, really genuinely like this one, and people just totally, I don't know, didn't seem like they were super into it, but I was like, fun story, lengthy narrative, standalone kind of thing, cool combat, lots of different areas you get to visit, different diverse enemy types, weird magic stuff, super creepy atmosphere, but like a well-set plot that's, you know, easy to follow and understand. Like, everything in this world kind of makes sense, despite it being all creepy and supernatural, and yeah, I don't know, I thought it was just kind of like a fun, pretty easygoing time, and something that could be a nice surprise and enjoyable game for you to enjoy. So hopefully Ghostwire Tokyo might be something that's worth checking out on the Pro for you. And yeah, good luck moving across these constantly soaking streets.